There are only 2 series remaining left here in the LPL Spring Split regular season. My name is Matt Nibiriclin Daniel. Joining me, Barento Raz Muhammad. We get to see the LPL out. We get to usher it into playoffs, Raz. This is exciting. This is a lot of fun we've got on our plate today.
Yeah, I think today is going to be great, especially for the teams playing out of the OMG venue in Chengdu. Remember, this is the last time we're going to be seeing use of it in the Spring Split, so we get to see really what feels like a grand exit. You know, there's always a fun way about it, but I love the OMG venue. I remember when I went in to visit in the grand opening when they went up against Suning. Of course, they didn't win that series, but you saw a full stadium nearly every day. So today's no different. People coming in to be able to see Vici Gaming going up against OMG.
I first of all love this venue, like you were saying. I love the space theme, but Vici coming in here. Both these teams are out of the playoffs contention. They didn't have a great split, but you know, they still want to give a proper send-off to the series. It's their last time they're going to be competing during the regular season. They're going to be off for playoffs. OMG, walking on your screen, you see Allah leading the pack there. They're all lining up, getting ready to go in. And this is going to be the 5v5 face-off, it looks like. They're just going to see each other first.
So the OMG organization really loves symbolism. I talked about the grand opening. A lot of that came to do with OMG's new members looking and singing alongside of the old members, the members that went to Worlds. It's no surprise to me that they give such value into it. You can even see the banners on each side. OMG, of course, starting on the left side and red side. Vici Gaming on the right. It's just fun to be able to see that because they recognize at the end of the day, they're playing to the crowd that's in Chengdu watching the games live. So they get to have a show before the game even begins.
And it's really fun for everyone involved. But we get to cast the game coming up, and it's going to be an interesting one. But first off, before we do that, let's talk a little bit of Vici's journey here with a team of all rookies. You know, you've been doing a little bit of thinking on your own. You've come up with your team of rookies, Raz's rookies, you know, and you've come up with your favorite rookie from every team, your favorite rookie, top 5 coming in.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's interesting because for me, my rookies, I suppose we're going to go straight towards it. Boom! Right there, 369 in the top lane. Meteor the jungle. Twyla from Sino Dragons. Remember, Sino Dragons getting into the playoffs, so it makes a lot of sense that it would be off the back of both Gala and Twyla, which for me was the difficult decision, placing out the AD carries, because I think Gala and Zhang Wuji have been our stars from the AD carry position. So Zhang Wuji had a lot more moments while being on a team that really needed to pick themselves up and having that sole carry from the first 5 weeks really before the rest of the lane started to come into factor. And then Southwind. I had Southwind here. Once again, a tough call because Mark on Sino Dragons was such a strong rookie in the LPL. Going up against Southwind, who is headstrong, wants to pick the team fights, and is such a great engaged type support player. I love his Alistar, his Gallias whenever he gets the ability to play it. So this, to me, if this turns into a team, my God, right? Like, this team is a playoff team. Meteor and 369 already have solidified themselves as stars amongst the veterans. So that, for me, is my Raz's rookies coming in throughout the Spring Split.
And you were talking about SDG. You mentioned Twyla, you mentioned Mark, and of course they did just ring in their first playoffs victory. They came into the LPL. This is their first split for all of them. They were the victors of the LDL. Now they came in, and now if you look at the playoffs bracket, we've got pretty much everything solidified at this point with SDG locking that position down. Yeah,
so Sino Dragons being able to do it, I would just want to go straight towards, like, essentially the rookies that didn't get to make it. I want to go straight in towards Ale, who's playing on OMG. And for me, at the beginning of the split, he probably had the biggest mark of any support to start the split off. In week 1 and week 2, he came in insane plays off his Fiora. This was the last week when he came on with his Camille, and another one when he was able to just make those highlight plays earlier on in the split off his Fiora. This was my personal favorite. I know I had to make the decision between this play and the one where he was literally 1v5 against the enemy team, running around the bottom side of the map. He had an insane highlight moments across the board, and of course he's going to be going up against Jay. For me, Jay, Southwind, and Puff, they all ring in some great rookie performances. I think Jay came into his own, had a great Lucian performance. This one was his Silas one. I thought this was his best Silas game, just best highlight play, picking up the Tom Kench ulti, sending him behind the AD carry, being able to pick up that one. I think the rookies are coming in confident. That's what I love to see. I think Jay and Ale, although they weren't in the list. They were my honorable mentions with how well they've been starting to perform.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about Ale, because the first half of the split was really strong for him. I mean, he was probably one of the best top laners, if not the best, in terms of stats. He had the highest DPM at one point, just absolutely came out massive. He came out swinging and like, oh my god, this is an amazing top laner for OMG. Where did they find him? And then the latter half of the split, he seems to have fallen off a little bit.
I think the reason for that is because the structure is still needed coming out of OMG. A lot of the times, if you throw in another talented player, they've tried that. They even had a moment where Swan Pai, out of nowhere, comes into the team and has insane Ashe arrows across Ashe arrows. But even then, they had to just barely come out of that one with a win, right? If that's the case where players are coming out fantastically individually, then why are they still struggling in performances? Is because a lot of it comes in the structure of it. Who's being able to place down the vision? I think Five has been known as someone who is a shot caller and is so focused within his own lane, but it makes a lot of sense in the later portions of the week they've been swapping out the supports, because what they really desperately need is a support like jungle and support being able to rig the map with vision to support mid lane, because honestly they're so consistently playing towards Icon, but Icon is not having the best of laning phases because these 2v2s have been failing so much. So in the end of the day, issues for OMG comes into shot calling, decision making, and so Ale, who is the carry top laner, has been left out to dry so frequently, which is why a lot of the changes for OMG has been happening.
Well, and historically as well, Icon last split was like the big carry for OMG, and they still struggled to find good footing in the league. So it's not a new structural issue. It's sort of an OMG tradition for at least the past two splits, but they're starting to look a little bit better. And I think both of these teams, compared to their last split performance, yes, their placement is not great. 15th and 16th place, respectively, for OMG and Vici. Not great, but if we look at the teams themselves, the way they're performing, this is heavily improved, especially for Vici. You already pointed out Jay and Southwind, but the whole team, I mean, they are looking so much stronger than last split.
I think, 100% stronger than last split, because the developmental shift was certainly needed. I think from Vici Gaming's perspective, when they came from last split to this split, what I wanted to see happen were like the old guard to be kind of sifted out. So we can see real change coming through in terms of just decision making. And I think Southwind was 100% the right decision from Vici Gaming's perspective. And they found themselves a star in Puff. They just needed to be able to find the rest of the lanes to be, finding confidence. Because Jay certainly is a member who hasn't had that confidence. It's tough in this league when every mid laner, every matchup seems to be going up against you. And then when you go up the top lane matchup, I think ZDZ, Chelly, all of them for me were questionable because Vici Gaming always had Audi. He was always in the sub position. I was wondering why Audi never ended up playing in these games. Perhaps, discussions behind the scenes or maybe dramas. I don't know what's happening there. I personally don't know. But for me, I would always rank Audi above these two players. And it probably just comes down to the fact that this team so heavily favors their LDL team. The LDL teams that they've had in the last split to this split have been always just strong team fighters. And so they thought that they can rein that in. Here's their current performance: ZZZ in the top lane, Ike's in the jungle, Jay in the mid lane, and Puff and Southwind rounding out that bottom lane.
They're going to be up against some stiff competition today from OMG, who are no slouches of their own in terms of star players. We've already talked about Ale in the top lane, Penguin in the jungle putting out some great performances recently, Icon, carry mid laner, and then Chelly and Five rounding out the bottom lane.
And that's the key word, is some great performances. I always love to be able to see moments from these players. Like Ale, when we saw those highlight replays, those were great moments. We need to be able to see that consistency come through, and I think Icon is finding those consistent plays. Remember, just recently he's coming out with those Vayne picks, Riven, and he's been consistent in how well he's performing in these later game team fights. I want to see that continue on, because midway through the split, he was faltering in his synergy alongside Best 16, and then Penguin as well. Penguin coming back in, it seems like a lot of that's been mended.
Well, there's a lot of instability for both of these teams in terms of what rosters they want to run. We already talked about the top lane. We talked about the jungle for OMG. Yeah. I mean, it's just so much that these teams are looking to figure out, and this is a great match for them to do it, because when you're going up against a team like, say, TOP or FPX, and you're one of these two teams, there's only so much you can learn because they're so superior to a degree. But when you're up against a team that is roughly of your own caliber, you can see how you fare with these teams. They have ZDZ in the top lane once again and Penguin in the jungle. So these substitutions, I want to see if both these teams think these are the players they want to stick with long term, or if it's just another day of them trying out.
I mean, that concept always depends, right? At the moment when you're in between games, certainly you learn more of a competition that's really just like that closer to you rather than just getting smashed in 20-minute affairs. What's happened for both these teams when they go up against like TOP, EDG, and all that. When it comes down to just footage afterwards, when you can just review the footage, have a longer time to just look through it, you always want to see the best plays, the best teams go up against you, so you can find out individually what they're doing, right? Because at the end of the day, they're focusing on their own play. And I think what we do want to see, as you're already alluded to it, is that both these teams have pretty large rosters. Like, both of them have 10-man rosters, and even then some, because they have trainee rosters amongst them, and then there's the LDL players that's been going through. In fact, funny enough, here's a fun thing that not a lot of people have eyes on. There's a certain jungler named Cat Jungle. He's in the LDL. He's been in My Dream, OMD's B team, for so long, and then they never used him. I was like kind of sad that was never the case. And currently in this split, he's on an undefeated team in the LDL, and you might likely hear their names soon enough, and I think he's been consistently performing. But it just comes down to scouting. Scouting the best players to be able to come onto your team, and not just best mechanically, as we've already said about OMG, because OMG's gotten some great mechanical players. Like, that's not an issue. It's more so players that can build the team together, and essentially great calling and great leadership. Which is always the difficult one with OMG. So I want to see where they end up going, because you're right, man, when this is still a game that really says a lot towards Summer Split. In Summer Split, you get to find out which of these players are going to be continuing on in the starting roster, and it's based off these performances.
And we've been seeing a lot in looking at the other side of the field.
Yeah.
You know, Vici, we've been seeing a lot more of ZDZ recently. At some point, it feels like Vici were just like, hey, we have another top laner. Let's just use him and use nothing else, and they just threw ZDZ up there. But for you, how do you feel about him versus Chelly? Because we already talked about Audi and how you think, I mean, he's already there. Why not use him? But between the two, ZDZ and Chelly, how are you feeling about ZDZ's recent performances?
I think his performance is exactly as I expected, simply because they had brought in a previous, last split, they did the same thing, brought in a top laner because Audi had not been a consistent front for their squad. He is a great carry player, but I'm talking about Audi, great carry player, but when it comes down to making the right decisions, individually, he would go for a 1v2 a lot of times, over split push when his team's not in the right position. But to answer your question, I like it because that's when they really pulled him in when they recognized they weren't going to have a chance at being able to make playoffs. And if the difference between ZDZ and Chelly in my mind is competitive experience, because beginning of the split, I thought Chelly was not performing well in the third-party tournaments that he was playing. And then coming into the beginning of the split, I was like, okay, he's the weakest party member. But then he had really grown because he was going up against some exceptional talent in the top lane and had been in that, premier top lane experience. And I think giving that ZDZ shot going into Summer Split gives you a better decision of who to field in the top lane.
Now we get to see if that experience has paid off, how much ZDZ has developed now that they're up against OMG. This is going to be a tight series for both of them, and no, there's not playoff contention, but at the same time, we get to see the carries do what they like to do. Jay versus Icon in the mid lane, Ale versus ZDZ in the top is going to be a fun 2 solo lanes.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to have fun in the sense that Icon, if you haven't been seeing his previous games, man, the guy has just been trying to challenge his own mechanics. Go for champions he hasn't played during the split. He's been playing in solo queue and say, just give me a shot, please. I've been telling you this works. Now let me just be able to show it.
We're not going to see anything too crazy, I don't think. I kind of hope we do, but I don't think
there's already Lissandra,
yeah,
so
I mean, the Lissandra kind of signals we're not going to see too much crazy, at least from the side of Vici, likely going over to Jay there. It's been one of the most popular picks we've seen in the mid lane.
But just going through the bans, I think the Kog'Maw one says a lot, because Kog'Maw has been a pick that FPX showcased that they can just blind pick alongside Braum. It really does say going into the playoffs, I think that Kog'Maw will solidify himself in the playoffs as a blind pickable champion. It's kind of crazy to be able to say that, but he's been faring so well in the laning phase, and we've been seeing Hail of Blades coming through pretty consistently from him. So it just comes down to it. If you're in the LPL and there are LPL 80 carries trying their hardest hard carry, Kog'Maw always finds his way in.
I actually feel pretty good about OMG's 3 bans in total, actually, because I look at them and I think, okay, these are the picks that have really been coming up to the top of the meta in 9.5 specifically. We didn't see a lot of focus on Rek'Sai earlier. Kog'Maw, of course, has come out recently, and Sylas recently bug fixed, so he's going to be back there. So OMG going for those top picks, and they've picked up the Jarvin and the Kalista. Potentially going to see a Kale answer.
I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen, because, remember, when you ban out the Galio, it's Vici Gaming that did that. Recognize that OMG is going to have their hands at the Alistar. Thresh 5, that is an exceptional Alistar player. I think this is a great start just to be able to see what 5 is thinking, because he can go either Alistar or Thresh, and Thresh is just a namesake for himself. He plays so well on the Thresh, and on top of that, he always tends to play it when it's more so like, hey, there's no other winning sides of the map right now. Like, top lanes ain't doing well. Mid lane's been having an off time. When he was without SMLZ in like 2017, 2016, I mean, we got to see more of the Thresh come through, and I want to see if he ends up picking it alongside Chelly.
Still an option, like you said, but now OMG looking to find their third pick as Vici pick up Puff. A nice hyper carry. We've seen him perform incredibly well. Oh, okay. Cassiopeia for Icon, most likely.
Yeah, I love Icon's Cassio. I really enjoy his Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia as a champion ain't that fun to watch visually just because she doesn't have anything crazy other than, of course, her ultimate. But Icon's always been that type of Cassiopeia. Like, if you're not looking at his assassin plays and you're like, all right, well, he locks in the Cassiopeia, he still has, like, highlight moments. I remember the quadra kill that he had, I think it was, like, last year with the pick. So once he gets his hands on it, and he does, we're seeing a great early game from this composition. I want to be able to see what OMG can do that bridging into the later portions of it, because one of the Kalista's greatest weaknesses is once, you know, we start to see 4 or 5 items come about both sides of the map and Vayne starts to take over, but how can she join those team fights when there's a miasma in her way?
Interested to see as well how much focus OMG are putting down into the top / mid lane here. Very likely top lane. We haven't seen a lot of Lissandra top, so they're just going to ban out the Jace away from ZDZ. And Vici themselves going for some top side oriented bans with the Kalista, or Camille, sorry.
They better ban the All-Star here because the Morgana ban does signify the fact that, you know, OMG wouldn't want a support engage option with the Kalista to be countered out. So if you're Vici Gaming and you're looking towards the Thresh or the Alistar, just ban the Alistar. It's probably the harder one to deal with in the later game, in the mid game, I'd say.
And you know, Galio's already been banned out, which is the other great combo we've been seeing.
There we go.
So there's the Alistar ban, like you said.
But it's 5, man. He's been wanting this. Literally the 2 champions I was referencing, they make it so they get a set play in the second phase of pick ban. And they pick up 5. I mean, it's just a hover. Just lock it in. No! Don't listen to your coach. I know he's trying to tell you all the nice things about Braum, but don't listen to him. He's telling you lies. No!
Well, you mentioned there's some nice things about Braum there, Raz. So what are they? Why would the coach want to take this over the Thresh for 5?
It allows you to play a little bit more of a squishier composition. I think Braum is just a great skirmish type support. Like, he has a great level 1, so you already saw from FPX series what a Braum can do once you just go in headstrong with your Braum pick. But also it then means that Penguin can go to the bottom lane a little bit more easier because not only, of course, does Jarvin hit hard with his first proc, but also just because that runs you down. Braum passive is a hell of a drug. So I just want to be able to see what OMG can do with the bottom side of the map. Less so than Ollie. I think what we're going to be seeing from Ollie is another Scion option. I'm going to see just no Scion bans here. And he's been playing Scion quite a bit throughout the week. I know it's a bad matchup into the GP, but it's either Scion and Poppy. He's been going towards tanks far more frequently.
Oh, well, they're hovering away from the tanks, but let's
Are they going to free him? Are they freeing him from the tank cell that he's in?
Yeah, they are. There it is. That's what we wanted to see. We know Ali as a carry player, not going heavily. Oh, it could be flex to Chelly, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, but
no.
it's not going to happen.
Kalista's there.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
I know you love your flex picks, but ain't no way Kalista's ever leaving the bottom lane. Just putting that out there.
Well, let's look at the bottom lane again, because that Karma was locked in, and we didn't get a chance to talk about that. We've heard that Uzi likes to have the more enchanter support style with his hyper carries, but Southwind picking it up as well.
I mean, a lot of times Uzi and Ming just prioritize the laning phase. If that means that they need to be able to pick up an enchanter support, then yeah, they'll do that, and they'll look towards top lane or jungle to be able to foot the bill when it comes to tanks and engage options. That's always been the risk, and in fact, that last risk didn't pay off for RNG when they lost with that enchanter support. So I still love Karma in the laning phase. The moment the Thresh was not picked, nudge. You know, with Braum, it's far more easier to just start harassing that out. So I love that we're getting to see more laning phase focus coming out of Southwind.
Bot lane, both going to be looking towards the laning phase with the Kalista Braum, like you said, a lot of stun pressure, a lot of kill pressure, but poke coming out from the Karma. And in the mid lane, we've got Lissandra versus Cassiopeia as well. We get to see Icon's Cass. Once again, it has a lot of carry potential on this one, but how is it going to fare into the Lissandra?
Very good. Very good. One of the biggest things about the Lissandra matchup is Lissandra always is defined by her ability to just go all in, right? And on top of that, if there's ever a trade, remember the LeBlanc matchup is essentially whenever she goes in for a distortion, she just gets stunned, snared up, and on top of that, procs the aftershock, so the trade that goes into her is completely just negated. But up against Cassiopeia, she has a good enough range to be able to deal with you. And really the whole factor is Lissandra tries to push in. If Cassiopeia get an opening for an all-in, if she can get a Q in there so she can set up for her Twin Fangs, then you better have a jungler nearby you, Jay. That's my only, that's the asterisk that I have here for you, because otherwise it's going to be a difficult matchup.
He's got a pretty good jungler to do that with the Lee Sin there for Ikes. So they'll have quite decent pressure there in the 2 versus Icon. We got carries on both the carry players for OMG, so this one's going to be a pretty hype one. The Vladimir in the top lane, Cassiopeia mid. OMG firing on all cylinders as we prepare to go into game number 1 of Vici versus OMG.
All right, where are we going? Where are we dropping? That's my question.
Penguin looking a little tilted there. Eating the Karma Q to the face.
Nah, you can't stop them. Look, you have a Braum. Just go right in there. Hit him with the crew. Oh! All right.
He's going to have another one in a few seconds.
Doesn't matter. They know too much.
No fun, crazy level 1 kills. No triple kills for the jungler this time, Raz. But we do have Conqueror on both the junglers at the very least.
I expected that. Remember I had my whole spiel about Conqueror's Jarvin and how nice it is in a 2v2 because once you get the full proc, remember, EQ will flag drag, hits you up with a, 3 of the 5 stacks already, and I'm counting the auto attack that follows up when you're up in the air. So you have 3 auto attacks just when you start the fight if they get knocked up. And then, oh no, wait a minute.
Level 2 bot lane gang. I don't know about this one, Penguin.
Hit him.
Southwind's still in the bush. They don't have vision of him. He's stepping up. They saw him too.
Yeah, they've slowed him, but this is awkward now.
No Winter's Bite landing either, so Penguin just wasted a whole lot of tempo.
That just comes down to the communication there because we're looking towards 5 starting it up, but 5 didn't have a real good option in who he is going to go for. So Chelly starts stacking Ren on towards Puff saying, okay, I have this slow, but you could already tell that, yeah, Penguin wasn't going to be looking for it. But at least they get enough damage on the Puff to keep him under towers. So there is that, but yes, you wasted the time for your own jungler.
How much is this time waste going to matter, though? Because Penguin got the scuttle on the bottom side, and he's going for the invade onto the Raptors. I
mean, generally speaking, when it's you're racing up against the Lee Sin that only goes through the single target damage, Jarvin's going to be doing just fine. He has the attack speed on his flag, his Q is good AoE, and you're vertically jungling, so who are you really racing? So ultimately speaking, that was still a good risk for Penguin to take. I'm liking the early bathing for both of them. Ollie's going to be kept underneath tower, but he should never be in dive range. That's the whole point, is that he's going to be able to heal up quite well, and he should be able to challenge the barrels with his autos. That barrel's just sitting there, and he wants to be able to auto it.
Oh, he's got it. Nice. Took it out. Now, Ike's will get the triple buff as a result of this. Like you said, vertical jungling coming out. And Penguin has so much pressure here onto the bottom lane. Got a full wave there.
Are we doing this? You're too low, buddy. So, okay, when you vertically jungle and you're on... Yeah, get out of there. That was my first concern. If you're on red side and you vertically jungle, you usually don't have access to the Krugs bot side because dual lane will just push you out. They'll have a ward in that bush that's just sitting right there on Krugs, and the moment you start taking it, they push you out of there, and usually blue side gets experience advantage. But in this case, he sneaks out the Krugs. Doesn't matter that he gets autoed. He gets pushed out. So overall, if I'm Jarvin, I'm like, okay, I'm sky high. I didn't lose anything on being in this side of the map.
Now, with the reset for both the junglers, Ike's has cleared out the entire top side of his jungle and the top side of Penguin's jungle, save the Raptors. So he has the potential to look for a gank after this, and the Scuttle Crab in the bottom lane coming up as well.
Yeah, so I think, Scuttle Battle is going to be something relevant. Ocean Dragon is always nice to be able to pick up. I think ZDZ should be able to hit 6 the moment the pressure is already going to be levied there. So he should be able to throw on the ultimate. And Ale doesn't want to lose his tower. I think overall, Vici Gaming will have more presence in the bottom side of the map that's more relevant. Take a look at this. I mean, nothing here is surprising. The magic exists so he can deal with Jay and the stats, the rune stats. Minion Dematerializer. That's something that we won't be seeing too much in 0.6. That one kind of got nerfed out. I mean, changed, quote unquote, but in terms of just being able to just blow up the cannon wave every time, that idea got nerfed when it got changed to 5 to 3. So that's in the future. That's going to be in playoffs.
Yeah, that strategy got absolutely blasted. It's so much harder to keep that wave. But we've seen it so much, and you even see it on 5 as well.
Yeah, I mean, right now, 9.5, it'll be just fine. Here comes the Scuttle Wars of 1985.
Five's up here to help. Good block there. Will be secured after blocking the Q from the Lee Sin, so OMG can have a little bit of extra vision down in the bottom side.
And this is free vision too. I remember when F2X was like playing in their last series, and if you're just slow to being able to take that, remember, you block out the enemy team's ability to just use J in this instance to roam towards the bottom side of the map unseen, right? So with OMG being able to pick that up, now I'm Jarvin, I'll play towards top side a little bit more, start to even out the top lane matchup that was tilted in ZDZ's favor. And then Chelly and 5 are completely safe with that Scuttle Crab being there. So you have more options now if you're OMG.
I think top lane's the best place for Penguin here as well, because you mentioned it. It leaves a little bit of pressure for Ala, but you said he doesn't have a lot of threaten from the dive from ZDZ.
I mean, the only help you want to give him is a good back timing. You already got one base off, just you had to use his teleport for that. But if he's just going to be stuck in lane, getting chipped out by ZDZ, there's still a possibility of a gank because you're flag and drag, and you still do a lot of damage with the Conquerors. You can already see he's looking for it.
But Ala may have stepped forward a little bit too soon. He's not even going to land the slow from the Tides of Blood. So now Penguin not going to be able to find the gank. He's just stuck on the top side with not a whole lot to do. Now Engage going down. Root will land onto Chelly, but he's still alive. A few stacks on both support and jungler. Oh! Whoa! That's the first blood. That came in quick.
Good timing on the ultimate from ZDZ. Being able to hit that one. If he didn't have that damage, extra bit of damage that, you know, Condemn would have been able to save out 5, but really well coordinated to be able to get that kill.
You know what we call that, Raz?
What's up?
It's a perfectly calculated Condemn. It's not a potentially troublesome one.
Yes.
Perfect calculation.
Excellent.
A million IQ on the Condemn from Puff, and now Vici will be able to steal away the blue buff from OMG. That was really good timing from Jay. That's a really little thing, but I'm like, oh, that's neat, man.
One of the good things about Vici Gaming is, even though we've always questioned the team's like mechanics in comparison to the rest of the league, like Jay in comparison to like CA and just all of the mid laners that you have to go up against is always difficult. So he always finds himself like wanting more in terms of CS differences. He's always been in the you know, struggling in that regard. But they play well as a team around objectives. They're an objective-focused team, playing towards blue buffs and at times playing towards stealing enemy reds. They're good at being able to coordinate that when they have pressure. It always just comes down to the execution of that, because the enemy team's going to challenge you, right? In this case, they didn't, because the bottom lane thing happened and 5 wasn't on the map. But in other cases, and probably later on in the series, you'll see OMG want to put their foot down, and it comes down to a skirmish where Vici Gaming have the pressure and they have everything warded up, so they should be able to win. But more often than not, these splits, they end up losing those through the misexecution of plays.
Going in for the engage, potentially there. On to Puff. Will land the slow from the Ren. But you mentioned that point about Vici's playstyle. It's an interesting juxtaposition to OMG because they are more individual-oriented. We were saying they need more structure. They need more shot calling. They need a little bit of a voice. So you have sort of like a mass of talented individuals versus a team that may not have so much talent in the individual positions, but have a lot more coordination here in Vici. Dodge out there from Jay. Jay not going to follow the glacial path.
Yeah, that would be trolling if he ended up following that. I'm just going to put that. He's literally in between the Jarvin and the Cassiopeia, so please don't follow that glacial path. But that was really good coming in from Jay, because if he had looked obviously in Cassiopeia's direction, Snake Lady would have made you a little bit... Oh, wait a second. Oh, wait a second.
He's got 3 on this side of the map, but he's going to get engaged onto. Has to flash out. Cataclysm locks his mid laner in there. Penguin, I don't know about that one, but the Hemoplague ticking down onto Vici, doing a ton of damage. Will take him out. The double kill for Penguin will keep OMG's hopes alive in that fight. 2 for 1.
Great collapse from Ale. I haven't seen that from him for the entire split. Oftentimes he's doing his own thing in the top side of the map, or you know, later on in the game, just if he's playing a 1-4. This time around, he was helping his jungler going for the invade. Icon came in and was probably screaming out, and he came in and helped the man. So overall, I mean, he didn't get the 2 kills, but now Jarvin is jacked. He's looking pretty big.
Well, 2 assists are not nothing there for that Vladimir. Looking towards that late game scaling, and of course in his lane, it should help relieve pressure once he backs. But let's just look at that play one more time, because Icon gets a little bit shafted here.
So Vici Gaming make the right call. It just comes down to damage, because ultimately Icon's going to be able to escape to be able to deal a little bit of damage to help out Ale. Of course, the flash comes through from Ale to be able to help out. I just thought that it was an okay play from Vici Gaming to be able to take an opportunity, knowing that they'll lose their blue buff, to try and get a kill out of all of it. they probably didn't know how little damage the Lissandra ended up doing.
Wow.
Okay.
5 is in trouble. Great Fate's call time and going to keep him alive, actually. But where's 5 going to go? Back to safety with the Ignite timer having ticked down. So really good play from the bot lane of OMG.
That was insane. I wish I knew exactly what HP was at, because I'm looking at the sidebar, and it looked like single digits. It really looked like the digits were not in the doubles. That was insane to be able to see 5 being saved from that one. But I think Jay needs some saving.
He has the glacial path he's going to look for, but Penguin sees it. He gets the flag and drag. The chase comes out. Icon pops the miasma. They're trying to put in the damage. Frozen Tomb might kill Penguin, but a good going goal. Icon under the tower. What is that fight? Ix picks up 1 in favor. Both mid laners down.
That was a good call from Ix. He knew that he could get the kill on Cassiopeia, because you could see the play being made from Penguin. He's like, I can tank up enough, right? Even with the ultimate from Jay coming through, I was like, well, I have a stopwatch. I mean, the time just struck 10 minutes. I'm good to use it. So overall, it was a risky play from OMG, but they made because they were almost certain that Ix was not going to be there in time. He finally made it and got the kill on the Cassiopeia.
That said, I mean, the cast is sitting pretty, looking at over a wave of CS, but now Vici, that objective focus coming in big is they're trying to solo out the Rift Herald, and they have enough pressure in the top and mid lane to do it.
Yeah, just a good idea, because Icon's still trudging back to lane. And they've always had pressure on the top side of the map. So Ix, once again, making a good call here, being on this side of the map. I'm wondering what he does with it next, because ordinarily jungles would be able to put that, put it in the back pocket, look towards top lane, try and accelerate the top side of the map. Usually you don't lose anything, because you end up being able to pick up the 300 plus gold just off of the usage of your Rift Herald right off the back. And also you can just be able to swap your lanes. As you can already tell, the bottom lane's been doing okay, but you have a black, you have the Blade of the Rune King now finished from Pup. Him being in a longer lane and taking use of that utility is always a positive, so I think Vici Gaming can accelerate a little bit more.
Penguin going for the bottom lane gank again, 6 levels later. We'll see if it's any more successful here. Kind of hoping for his sake, because he's already spent a lot of time down here.
They have a Karma, and she has Flash. I feel like this won't work. Just putting that out there.
He's going to start the back.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Well, that's really unfortunate there for Penguin, because Ix was on the top side of the map picking up Herald, and Penguin's just down here unable to get another gank off bottom lane.
Generally speaking, that's a good play at week 1 or week 2, and you're seeing teams make way more mistakes individually because they're not really trusting in the whole team play. This time around, it doesn't make too much sense.
Uh-oh. Icon getting engaged on the root. Frozen Tomb. Goodbye, Icon. Cassiopeia not going to last much longer as Ix picks up the kill, his 3rd of the game.
This will be costly here for Cassiopeia because, wait, where are you going, Ix? Where are you putting that Rift Arrow? What?
Somewhere. It is in mid, though, Raz.
Please put it mid.
Jay diving under the tower will make it out. And nope, Raz is going top lane.
So I wanted this to happen when he took Rift Trail to begin with. Maybe they chip down this turret to it. Yeah, this would take down turret. I think that's the ultimate call. They want the turret anyway. So, all right, okay. The initial call is happening, even though the Gale to Cassiopeia would have been able to take quite a bit off that mid lane turret.
Do you feel better about this than getting the plates?
I mean, they're getting the plates in top lane anyways. That's fine. I feel better about opening the map when you have your, the Vayne Karma doing well for themselves.
OMG taking a little bit of flack there in the bottom lane, but they are up in CS. I mean, the individual lanes have been middlingly successful here this game. They've been going back and forth in CS leads, and now Allah's been behind the entire game by about 10, but Icon falling behind a little bit because Ix just keeps coming after him.
Overall, I think this is just the best early game we've seen from Vici Gaming. Vici Gaming have just been outright succeeding around Ix. So it makes it so they can make the next best call. Remember, look at Vladimir. Vladimir is now underneath his turret, picking up an entire wave. It'll be 2 waves before he's going to be useful, going to be helping his team out. Ordinarily, what Vici Gaming should be now doing is helping Lissandra pushing out mid so they can rotate her bottom lane and maybe look for a dive with that option, or just take down turret. So we'll end up seeing what they do with the vision control that they have here.
First Drake is still on the field as well. Ix looking for the Q onto 5. He's going to follow it up. Blast Plant will save 5 for now. So Vici has not blown anything in that engage. And Ala going for a fight in the top lane of his own. I don't know
he
about
wants
this one.
it.
Hemoplate goes down. He's about to get the Crimson Rush. Should be able to heal himself back up, but the Cannon Barrage comes out. The pool not going to be able to save you. Ala forced to flash with the follow-up from ZDZ. Can he get the healing in time? No! ZDZ picks up the kill solo.
He starts it up so early.
Oh my god! Puff flashes and ults forward. He's chasing down onto Chelly. Cannot get the third auto, but will burn the flash.
Vici Gaming is flexing unassisted. Unassisted. Top lane, ZDZ just goes in. This is what I'm talking about when it comes down to this individual confidence. ZDZ wasn't looking too hot in previous weeks just because that was literally his debut. If you're debuting that late into the season, I'm sorry, you're not going to be showing the best of yourself.
Oh, but now Penguin trying to get the flag and drag will land it onto Ike's, chugging him down to half health, but they're fighting over the vision. Remember, Ocean Drake is still available.
Let me see that top lane. Yeah! Hit it! Oh, how much life is he going to use?
Is he going to die for this?
Nah, he's out.
All right.
There's no way he ends up dying for it. No one's going to be chasing him either. So ZDZ is killing Ale.
I mean, there's 2 towers taken in this game. They're both in the top lane, both for Vici. ZDZ is just popping off. He's got the Executioner's calling. He's got the Trinity Force. He's sitting pretty.
Look, this is when pressure is coming onto Ike. I say that. But bottom lane on top of 5. And Chelly, you need to base, my friend.
This is really dangerous bottom lane here, and Vici gonna look for the push themselves.
Oh, but Lissandra's getting isolated, so she can't help them out. Cassiopeia can come in for a play if they come in at the right time.
Should be a 4 versus 3. Glacial Fissure lands on the Southwind, but no follow-up
Here we
just
go.
yet. Here comes the Fate's call, but Chelly zoned off by the Sonic Wave. The Cataclysm onto 2. The bot lane of Vici gonna get stuck there. Icon looking to get back into the fight while Chelly fires away, picks off 1. There's 2 from Icon. 2 for 0 in the bottom lane gank from OMG.
That was what I was talking about with pressure on Ike's. Like, Ike's has all the pressure in the world. Bottom lane chip on Chelly, and the top lane, ZDZ, is living sky high. But it comes down to the decisions you make. If Jay is saying, I can't work, I can't do a damn thing to help you because Icon and Penguin are in between me, I'm telling you right now that's a bad call to make. But they tried for it anyways. And when they realized it was not a good call, far too late, Cassiopeia is already behind you. So this is when they realized, all right, we're not going to get anything off of it. I still love what Ike did at the beginning of this. Chelly continues to go forward. He's going to die. And then even then, Ike says, all right, flash, kicks the Cassiopeia out. But why do you have to outplay that situation? That was something where you were pressuring. So Vici Gaming, I know they're completely just rigged with rookies. But these are the decisions that you have to be able to make if you're competing in this league.
OMG, though, that's basically their first successful play here of the game, other than the blue buff takeaway in response. So now they've evened up the gold lead a little bit, still down at about 2K deficit, but Penguin 2-0-3 on this Jarvin is doing fairly well for himself and looking to pick up a Knight's Vow on the back of it as well.
It's funny because his eyes are on the prize. He's been doing well since minute 1, but still went towards the pure tanky route. Tanky Jarvin, knowing that his rest of his team is like going to be fairly squishy. You could say late game Vladimir can do both. But on the side of Penguin, Penguin needs to be the one who's at the forefront, starting the fight, buying as much time as humanly possible. So he's using that extra bit of gold that he's had in his pocket to be tankier. So on OMG side, they're going to be looking to group up as much as possible and make use of that stat.
It's interesting to me, we saw the Ocean Drake be taken away by Vici, and that's all well and good, but why didn't OMG go for it after they'd won that massive fight in the bottom lane? You've got a Cassiopeia, you've got a Kalista.
I mean, there's so many replays flying at you that the most important thing is usually base timings. What do you use with your back timings? You end up getting the kill. Do you value going back to base and getting on the map early? Because all of that has really dictated Vici Gaming being able to pick up the Ocean Dragon and pressuring what they're doing right now. Here comes...
Could be a 5v5 over a red buff. That's a scary situation. It is taken away, secured by ZDZ, so he's going to be a whole lot scarier up in the top lane.
Yeah, he's doing quite well for himself, to a point where I would like him to stick with the team. The barrels are just so threatening at this point towards the Kalista. Yeah, I expected him to follow up on that too. I did too. Just putting that out there.
Icon now no longer has a Petrifying Gaze. And 1v1 in the top lane, auto attack comes out. Ala has to burn the Hemo Plague. He'll pull away to safety, but that's no ult once again for him. Oh, but the flash engage coming in. Amazing route there from Jay. The teleport coming in from the top lane as well. OMG, I don't know if they can take this one. They get the shutdown onto Ikes, but lose their AD carry support. And now the jungler, OMG, losing that fight 3-1.
The passive on Lissandra doing a lot of work there. I mean, 3 of those didn't even get to find any HP to explode on, but you're starting to really see Vici Gaming be that confident in their 5v5. Ikes goes in, ends up, of course, killing himself for the overall cause of Puff and Southwind getting a really good front to back. So I would love to see that one more time to be able to see how it all transpired.
Especially with Jay, he got like a 4-man route in the middle of that. Just absolutely incredible from him. But now, Vici, off the back of that play, they know no one's on the map, so they're going to take down their second inner tower of the game at only 20 minutes.
So you're right about Jay. Jay starts with an out perfectly. It's the kills that start coming through when the teleport finishes up. ZDZ is right there with like 3 low HP targets. And then just take a look at the White Walkers right there. Just like, all right, who are we going to have to hit? Where was that auto attack even? Like, wait a minute. Braum's White Walker had an auto attack animation, and he doesn't have, like, that literally is not what he does. Anyways, we'll have to look back at that later.
Maybe it's the crit animation there, Raz, but Vici in a lot of trouble here. Frozen Tomb used by Jay, and the chase down will be successful. Ala picks up his first kill of the game.
All right, good catch out onto Jay. A lot of these games are going to be like feeling like it's a ping pong back and forth, where Vici Gaming, after that monstrous team fight, should be going back onto the map, picking up the vision that they have, and leading towards the left side of the map where Baron buff is. But because they end up getting caught like that, suddenly OMG just says, all right, we'll take that vision from you.
That said, every time OMG make a play, they're still behind. Look, I mean, the Colonel agrees with me, which is very convenient.
There we go.
But they're down 4K gold. They're down 4 towers. They're down a dragon. OMG are not by any stretch looking great in this game.
Yeah, it really is all about execution towards Vici Gaming's composition. You already saw how easy these team fights look when Jay gets the easy engage, and Puff can just find himself front to back without needing to worry about the Cassiopeias like smiting him. And really that last team fight loss that they have in the bottom lane was when they just couldn't do much about Jay not being there. So as long as they recognize that they just need to have the 4 members, I'm not even saying ZDZ, just have 4 members who are there together, they'll end up picking up a lot of these fights with the greatest ease.
Ike's down into the bottom lane. He's expecting Jay to get ganked here, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So Ike's just shoving it in, 2-man into the bottom lane.
We're tracing now. They don't see him, but they gonna. Yeah, there we go.
Uh-oh. Ala tries to dig into the bush. Oh, no.
Okay.
Okay.
He's too smart.
Jay's not following it.
Not smart enough.
Oh, no. Why would you go back in, Ala? That's the combo to the death.
So, I mean, like, that's just going to happen. I was wondering why he decided to come right back in there, because if Lissandra's trying to open up on you alone, and you're afraid to, you have your own ultimate, I think in a 1v1, Vladimir would do well for himself. He has a lot of, like, he would probably have 2 rotations of Crimson Rush to be able to take that. You should be pretty confident that there's going to be somebody there helping.
Especially with that aggressive positioning, and now Vici off the back of that. This play, they know exactly what they need to do. Don't need to think about what to do next. Take down the tower, and now you've cleared out every single tower outside of the base.
Oh!
But Puff forced the flash. He's going to be okay for now. Nope, there's the stun, and the follow-up from 5 will pick up the kill. No more Vayne left on the map.
We hunting for kills here. Like, that's what happens when Vici Gaming and OMG are frustrated that they're losing their leads.
Oh,
the only lead I see is I've got a lead on your tracks.
Ala teleports in. He's looking for the flank, looking for Ikes. They force him to jump over the wall, but now that means it's a 3-4 versus 1. Jay's not going to get out of this one alive. There goes the kill onto Chelly.
This is my favorite kind of game, right? You don't see this anywhere in the world. In our own league, 23 minutes in the game, where majority of the fights post 20 minutes are happening bottom lane. Because they're just looking for picks, looking for skirmishes, and they ain't looking to do anything with the vision around Baron's side. So this ain't a vision-focused game. I'm killing you.
At a certain point, it feels like, I don't know what to do next. What do you feel like, guys? Let's just get some kills.
Just play to your competition is what's happening. If you see Lissandra where she's not supposed to be, kill the Lissandra. If you see the Braum walking around, track the Braum down. A lot of this is happening because they are confident the enemy team is not positioned around the Baron buff to begin with, so they're not going to be punishing the enemy team by looking to rush it. And if I'm OMG, why are you not playing towards Baron Nashor, right? You have Cassiopeia, Kalista. That's what you were picked for. You have the Jarvin who could pick a fight alongside Braum if they get too close. Like, this composition, if you're the OMG coach, you're saying, what are you guys doing? Play around the Baron buff, create vision. You already have like the mid lane push. That's something that you're not really getting contested on that consistently. But now you get to see Vici Gaming start to get a hit on it first.
OMG were trying to contest that vision, but didn't get the opportunity. Vici there, way ahead of them.
Here's my favorite game. I mean, I'm talking a lot of favorite games, so one of these games are not my favorite. Or maybe they're just taking over. Who knows? It's just that OMG are trying to get mid lane priority to pull Vici Gaming out of the Baron area. Like that river you see right now, there are no wards from OMG there. They can't touch that area without getting killed. So like, okay, pull them out. Keep going through mid lane. And Vici Gaming are like, all right, we're dipping in, we're dipping out. So right now, OMG can't do anything but react. Uh-oh.
Had to react to that barrel change. ZDZ not going to get a whole lot of damage from it, but Ike's maybe looking for the pick. Backs off. Vici getting the push of their own in the mid lane this time.
I think Vici Gaming should just start Baron. Jay should stay mid. Southwind and Puff and Ike should just be on the pit. Because at this point you have double items, 2 items on Puff. That should be easy enough. That should be good enough to go for it. But looks like they're going to be trying to get the fight. Who doesn't have flash here? Chelly doesn't have flash, so I think he's going to be an easy target.
75 gold just saved the entirety of OMG. 5 gets the control word in the bush, spot out the potential bush gank, and now they should also be able to get the mid lane tower as well. But the counter engage might come through. Jay with another great route onto 3, but now the counter engage comes out. Glacial Fissure, Penguin has the flash over the wall. They've taken down Jay so far, but they also lose Chelly off the back. Now OMG trying to run away. Icon chasing against 3, gets the ult onto 2, trying to get out alive. Barely survived. No, gets taken down. The double kill for ZDZ, and now OMG are running for their lives. ZDZ zoning them off. The Baron's still on the field.
Yeah, Vici Gaming should just go straight towards the Baron pit, and they are. Like, that was actually a risky fight in terms of OMG being in the right place at the right time, but that kick from Ike's was so crucial, and we're going to be seeing them just go straight for the Baron.
Now Puff taking it down pretty quickly on that Vayne. He's got his 2 items.
Uh-oh.
How much is OMG going to be able to contest? Penguin, oh no.
Hit him.
You get hit here, you are so dead and you lose so much for your team. And now the final Q going to come in. No, they save him for now. Not able to get the stun just yet onto ZDZ. There it is, but the oranges follow it up. Ale trying to take out as much as he can, but the Baron is still being taken by Vici off the back of this. So ZDZ getting chased down a little bit. Baron goes down in favor of Vici, and OMG get nothing.
I love how tanky, or at least just how fed ZDZ is right now. He's literally just running into 3 people saying, I'm buying for time. I don't even care if I die here. Southwind cares, though, comes out to help him out. But just see how this all begins, because I think OMG were in a really good position, being able to protect a flashless Chelly on in the backside. But then look at Ike's. Ike says, I'm going to pick one of you guys out. So just off of this, to get Chelly and the kill, when he was actually in a pretty fine position ideally, was really crucial because Vici Gaming cleans up, goes towards the Baron pit. At that point, you already know what happens, and it all starts with Lisa.
Ike's just having the game of his life, man.
Hell yeah.
He's been doing so amazingly and making the right choices. Yeah, sometimes the team as a whole doesn't make the right choices, but Ike's been playing out of his mind, deciding out of his mind where he wants to put his time, and now Vici are rewarded for it. They got Baron buff onto 5 members for the next 2.5 minutes. For OMG, this is looking pretty nasty. They're down so much gold, almost 6K, even in the Dragons, but they're going to potentially lose so much off this Baron buff. Remember, ZDZ is massively fed, like you said. He can put out a lot of pressure just on his own. You have Jay as well, who can set up a 1-3-1 with the Baron buff.
But who's going to be coming in as frontline, right? This is actually the hardest part for Vici Gaming's composition, is to be able to nail down the inhibitor turrets. ZDZ, if he can do this on his own, that's going to be great, as long as it's a 1-4 and no one's going to be dealing with ZDZ. But my concern now is Cassiopeia is going to be able to layer down her miasma if you try and group up on a tower. And then Vladimir is going to be looking for a flank alongside Penguin. You don't want to deal with that fight. No, no, no. But on the Vici Gaming side, who actually starts that fight? You're looking towards Ike's, but that's not going to be who really wants to be able to get the kick. He's going to die almost instantly. So let's see. They've actually isolated them completely.
So Icon goes in, gets the miasma onto Jay, but now he goes golden. He's still got the opportunity to get out with Glacial Path, but they're not going to give it to him. A pick going down, but look at the bottom lane. Inhibitor under fire. The tower's already down. ZDZ should be able to pick this one up with the attack speed he has, and they do get the bottom lane Inhibitor, but lose their mid laner for it.
Best case scenario for Vici Gaming. Like, they had to play both bottom lane and top lane, and the travel itself made it so you got the Inhibitor down in the bottom lane for free. Now you got super minions coming into the bottom lane. You can just buy for time. You don't have to do anything down here. Start sending Vici Gaming up through mid lane and top.
Infernal Drake on the field as well there, so Vici can pick that one up. They have really great objective take.
That is a bad idea. Only because... Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, Ike's looking for the pick. They find it onto Chelly once again. Ike's just laser focused onto the AD carry of OMG. And now Vici chasing down a double kill for Ike's. They still got the slows there onto Penguin. A good ultimate from Icon. Might be able to take out ZDZ, but he is just too tanky.
All right, you know, okay, if you're going to make that play. Oh, wait a second. He ain't stopping.
Ike's is out for blood. He knows there's no ultimate left on Icon. The flash will get the shutdown. Ike's bit off a little bit more than he can chew.
Maybe he should have stopped, right? Maybe. But they keep going.
Keep going. They're looking for the second inhibitor. They've got pressure in the top lane. Jay doesn't have Baron buff, but it doesn't matter. Got Baron buff in the mid lane. Bottom lane minion wave will be pushing in very soon as well. Vici could be looking at 3 inhibitors off the back of this push, and ZDZ just poking out with the Qs. Now they take down the last tower.
And Puff is that cheat code. At this point in time, it doesn't matter how many members end up dying. As long as Vayne is there with Southwind and Lissandra, you should be able to deal with those fights. So they end up pushing back. They get pushed back a little bit, but now they got the mid and bottom lane inhibitor. You're already working at the top lane inhib. So what you now can do is go towards the Infernal Dragon, but take a look at this. The fact that he was able to nail down Chelly and instantly get that kill, still didn't have the flash in the last 2 fights, and then could get the... I mean, Ike's is having the game of his life. When the pressure isn't there, when you're at the last day of the split, why not? Like, he just comes out and just doesn't want to have any regrets. Whatever happens from now to summer split, he just wants to rock right now, and he's doing it.
Let's build a little bit of his rookie status showing through, of course. The fact that this is the time he performs when literally nothing matters at this point. Ike's is showing the greatest game of his life. But maybe, like you say, going into the summer split might not have that problem. And now Vici looking absolutely fantastic. Over 5K gold up on their opponents. They've got 2 open inhibs that have been taken, 1 left in the top lane, and they've got all 5 members rotating up towards it.
And it seems like OMG ended up getting that Infernal Dragon when everyone on Vici Gaming side ended up going back to base, which says a lot. I mean, OMG's trying to get as much as they can with the pressure that they end up, of course, having. Not a lot of pressure. Conceding as much as they can, and this is where they should end up drawing the line. Super minions coming up bottom lane and mid lane. You have to fight at some point. Vici Gaming will try their hardest to not let it happen.
Infernal Drake is the perfect Drake if you want to fight, so OMG are looking about as well as they could be, but a lot of poke comes out from ZDZ. He has the Guardian Angel now as well, so OMG are all clustered around this inhibitor, but ZDZ is poking out Penguin.
All eyes on Penguin. I mean, if he gets poked down completely, then yeah, they can't fight.
Half health at this point.
He's healthy enough, I think, that he should still be able to look for it. And ZDZ is just walking up.
All it has great wave clear, but it's not enough because now both mid and bottom lane are under threat. Half health on the inhibitor. If OMG want to go in, they need to go in soon.
Thankfully for OMG, the mid lane super minions and the bottom lane super minions are not coming in coordinated. So they can deal with each wave at a time. So they don't have to worry about too much. Now they got the full 5 members just holding out that inhibitor. All right, there we go. That's why the difference between some of the bottom tier teams in the LPL and I'd say the top tier teams is how they're able to hold the wave just in time so 2 waves come in at the same time. That means a lot, actually. With Cassiopeia, she can deal with 1 at a time, but if you just have literally 2 super minions hitting her up, then suddenly she cannot join the top lane wave as it's crashing.
This game, though, their timing was right on one thing, and that's that the Baron is
wait a minute.
Oh, they might be looking for a pick here on a ZDZ, get the Glacial Fissure to knock him up. He flashes away, but Cataclysm is there to follow. They need to take him out before they lose so much health. Oh my god! Jay goes in, gets the root onto 3. Chelly chases out, has the Fate's Call to save his support, but Icon stuck in the 1v3. Vici have picked up the Baron. They picked up the shutdown onto Icon. OMG are almost dead.
How bad does that feel?
Ale, he's looking for the engage, has the Hemoplague. There was a lot of damage on the Southwind, but he's not able to finish off any of the kills. Chelly is back with full health, looking for the stun, but gets kicked back, and Chelly pops the GA. Still in the fight technically, but that's a quick kill. The double kill comes in for ZDZ, and now Vici Gaming are just looking to shove it down when all the cards no longer matter. Vici Gaming show up bigger than they have in any previous series.
That's it. I mean, literally you send 4 people at GP's head, and he survives the onslaught. What the hell, ZDZ? I don't know who's going to get MVP between ZDZ and Lee Sin, but I think Ike's should get it. Ike's from minute 1 to minute whatever, like, really till the end of the game, he came out strong. I think individually we finally got to see Vici Gaming feel so strong. Of course, going up against OMG, you already said it, when the cards are off the table, literally just being able to come out there and show their own organization how strong they are individually, they get the job done.
With a massive gold lead as well, 10K at the very end of that, and OMG just couldn't find any footing in that game. Like you said, Ike's and ZDZ put off so much pressure together, and all that was facilitated through the early game. Ike's having the game of, I think, his career at this point.
His young career, literally.
It's very, yeah. I mean, this is he's an absolute rookie.
His play was
amazing.
So far. I mean, it said a lot for his individual performance. So overall, I think Vici Gaming, when it comes down to their focus on being able to take the objectives really early on, I think that's been great. And usually that's a good indication that support staff from Vici Gaming has been able to nail down the focus there. And I remember just like in that game when you said, you know, looking for the Infernal Dragon. For me, that meant a lot because there are a lot of times, and we saw from Vici Gaming, we saw from OMG, when focus started to waver. Like, you have a goal lead, right? Everything is going your way. Do you continue to push your advantage? Or do you go for literally everything that's on the map? You start, it's like, well, red buff is up. Let's go to red buff, even though the wave is starting to crash. That's actually been the case for specifically Vici Gaming. And I think that they've really cleaned it up. It still needs a lot of work, as you can see from this game. Doesn't matter how large of a lead ZDZ and Lee Sin had. That was still a scuffle and a half. Like, the kills ain't looking good. But it's still a good track to be going down, because learning from these mistakes at this point in time is valuable. Because then you go back to scrims, like when you get right back into the summer split, and you start to look back at these VODs.
And we're seeing, quite frankly, we're seeing why these teams are the bottom of the LPL. Let's not have illusions about it. There are a lot of mistakes to clean up. I know you're giving me that face like,
I mean, I just said it, so yeah, I agree.
Yeah. No. But we're also seeing a lot of improvement, and I think that's neat. Except OMG, I have a few question marks about their play.
Give it to me.
Because Vici were able to get a lot of good plays early. They didn't follow them up necessarily correctly, like misprioritizing different objectives and going for kills instead of whatever, like Jay roaming down and getting picked off. That was not great. But OMG did not seem to have a head in that game. It just looked like a chicken, freshly decapitated, running around a little bit, and they didn't seem to ever have control.
Control, I would agree. I think from that perspective, I think like Vici Gaming were able to a lot of the times be able to pressure towards the Baron side. After they got done with all the the bottom lane skirmishes that ended up just going through, when one team getting the pick and it was like more of a rush. But I think it's more of a testament towards Vici Gaming starting to clean up a lot of that. I think OMG tried to find opportunities when the Baron buff was off the play, and we started to see people going like Icon looking for the top lane play with Ale. Like, all of that was good, and we're starting to see communication start to come through. It's a bit too late for that, but at the same time, it is a great indication of what's going to happen in the future. So I want to see if they can clean that up going into game 2.
OMG need to clean up what Vici seemed to have already established going into game number 2, or Vici come away with a quick 2-0. We're going to find out what happens in just a few minutes.
而且现在是什么？现在是卢锡安这个人生巅峰的一波，4件套出无尽的4件套。
现在他都不如这个尼可了，尼可也4件套了。这尼可现在这一波3杀， 直接打没了。又要开厂长，厂里面有金身的，金身开一下，但是意识的没开。这里的话，卢锡安打一套好像效果一般。
别废话了。
这边神枪洗礼把对方逼退，这里死哥直接毒大招 ，echo 直接被炸死了。卢锡安这两下点的很漂亮，
这一波真的是后补拯救了。
但是这里打了一炮要追，卢锡安一往无前往前冲，
漂亮，
这边败了还要追，
还能追，
拿下一个 double kill， 这边还可以追吗？
有没有人让后？瑞兹这里是没有闪现的，没有 TP 的，
小五只能卖自己了。这一波后打得很果断，
哇，这一波全靠卢锡安
很有胆识。
这个就是卢锡安最强的一波，他很清楚知道这一点。
你惹了不该惹的人。
他们叫我左一。
Maple 这一波关还不错，哎，这叫一个 local 没办法过，有闪现闪过去被赶紧吞回来。刚刚应该是想要留一个闪现，看隔墙能不能塔姆吞。
准备好送死吧！
有 TP 起点，苏宁这波要炸了。这船长下来，
筒子直接炸死，左一的伤害带走鳄鱼，再一个飞星拿掉皇子，奈特如无人之境往前追，闪现躲沿途想杀 SOAT， 一个 R 技能贴到脸上 triple kill， 奈特这一波左一杀疯了呀！
这局感觉要炸了，这波打完这局就炸了。
原来你喜欢这么玩吗？
均衡，存乎万物之间。
哇！刚才这边 mistake 直接被围的是一个大招，大招回头接尾，这个大招已经给到了韩冰了，吐出来之后恐怕要受到那一下爆炸的伤害了。
我们上吧，他们的最后时刻要来临了。
收到了。
旁边海南一个闪现进场，五雷轰顶，直接瞬间融化两个人，先砍下一波 triple kill，
要利用好暗影。
像我这么帅的，一般都是主角哦。
我打得好快啊！好快，好快，好快，真的好快，好像没了。
目标已捕获。
这波可能要直接 rush 了，两边要接大龙团了。哎呦，
哎呦，一定抢到了！我的天哪！
哇，这一波
教主抢到大龙啊！
而且转头还把 AJ 给收掉了，
全凭技术。
他们要逃命了。
三条线吧，三条线 IG 的补刀都是领先的。是的。
上路这个他这线打的也太细了吧？
要给大了吗？我看一下。在拉斯给大，
给大了，
这是假的，
都给大了。一个山寨版的，一个正版的。
哎，但是这波盲僧在，看出他的眼睛闪现，不是这个，但是 Q 到来好了，
就被拉断了。
但是手上这边斯拉有队友有猪可以来了，但是这边直接砸死了姿态。
一我者亡。
哎呦，没有，在空中这波他的跳跃太过分了。
我来看看你有什么本领。
而且还能再打的这个球6点1，完了，中场也要炸了。
敌王绕柱打不出去的，
这个中场也
全部死亡。